making conscious music? Can someone actually really rap, make music that is actually positive and it's not tacky or boring? Is that possible? Can it be done?
From the block to the dream, and up to him as a kid, now coming back in. They used to say fools chase dreams. I'd rather be a fool and go hard, making these dreams real.
That's why I make music. The essence is just to heal people. So Corona period was a very brutal period for me because I used to think that I could save the world. That's why music to me has just always been about helping and saving people. That's just the essence. When I was born, I was introduced to hate very early. I was born in Kaduna. My family moved to Kano. That's the northern side of Nigeria. So my family were Christian. So in growing up in the north, we have something we call like family devotion. So it's at night, mom calls the whole family, everybody comes, Bible, prayer, family bonding, God. We pray, we read the word, share and connect. So you can't really pray loud as Christians from your house or sing loud, because else they'll come and burn your house down. So I used to losing uncles to religious crisis where Christians are being killed, and so you see your church get burnt down, and so a lot of things that I had to really wrap my mind about. Like that's why I have one song called "Foolish Man," which was this. The lyrics is first time I saw a bomb, I just turned 2, and my neighbor said he would kill me because I'm Christian. That shit confused me till I turned 4. So my church get burnt and my people too. I had to run away from home when we turned 7, going to a new city. We were praying hard. So it was more of very confusing to me. Like, so someone can hate me because this and that. So music, my first idea of why I wanted to make music when I began this conscious journey. Because at first I was just the typical artist. I just use F words. Fuck that, fuck this, fuck that. And my mom would be on my case. What message you want to pass to the world? What? That thing should just piss me off. Like, I just want to make music. What do you mean by message to the world? Like, what is all this message and all that? Because to me, it didn't make sense. How can you be a hardcore rapper and not use F words and say like the normal stuff? You have to say like that makes you a good artist, Because listening to previous people. So I remember reflecting, and my dad always gives me like motivational books. That's why a lot of stuff you see has a lot of my lyrics and a lot of my music is from my mom and dad experiences, also in my life, and God, and then my personal experiences. That's why the meaning of Tellz is Tesem, my dad's name, Linus, my mom's name, Service, and then Ikima, my son name. So Tellz is Tesem, Linus, Service, Tellz Ikima. So so whenever I'm on stage, it's not just me on stage. You're seeing my family on stage. That's who you're seeing come out live. So when you say Tellz, you know that okay, just call me, just call my mom and dad, and that's what I'm channeling their words of wisdom, especially like my mom's spiritual, my dad motivational, especially channeled into me, and then God just channeling the final process. So yeah, the whole plan was to. So I'm like, okay, I'm going on this conscious journey. What is this about? Making conscious music. Can someone actually really rap, make music that is actually positive and it's not tacky or boring? Is that possible? Can it be done? And I remember it was like my first withdrawal symptom in life was when I started making conscious music. Literally my first withdrawal symptom because it was tough not using F words anymore. It was tough not using words that I was used to saying. So it was a bit tough. But then I saw that my first mission was, my aim would be to unite Christians and Muslims based on my experience growing up. So that was just the aim. And over time, it kept expanding and expanding into more topics that I kept experiencing. So I would see topics that touched me, that hit me hard. Like, I don't know if you've seen the track I have on my, I have a track called Rape or Murder. So it's about this Indian girl. This Indian girl, I was watching the news, and this Indian girl that was being raped, she killed the man that had been raping her for a while. It just got me thinking, and they were sentenced her to death in India. So I was thinking, this is really a question that I would like to ask. How do I ask this? the best way to ask it is in a story form and give a story. So from then he expanded from that idea of just uniting Christians and Muslims to finding out that there's a lack of love in this world. Love has really been, we have become more scientific than spiritual. We have become more focused on currency than the human aspect. We have become isolated as a community, whereby children are being dragged into places where they do not feel any form of love. And once there is no love, corruption can begin with ease. Once you talk to adults every day, and you know where their problems are stemming from. It's not now, it's from their childhood, issues that happen. So love is very important in this world, and this world really lacks it. We keep promoting, it's funny how the world seems to believe that in communities now, they're creating communities. There's this idea of safe spaces and all that. But within all these places that we have created, we create, in our just to create safe spaces, we become more isolated. That's what I've noticed about our society. Yes, you feel safe here, but the true idea of humanity is to actually, yes, you are different from me. Yes, we have different ideas and different principles, but we can find that even though we do not agree on certain things, we still love ourselves as human beings enough to coexist. That is the idea of humanity. That's what I believe in. But we have become more I do not believe in that idea. Nah, you're my enemy.
Yeah.
I do not believe in that idea. You're my enemy. Like, nah.
Yeah, this is really relevant in the US right now, especially. I feel like the division has gotten like, yeah, the division is just so stark, and it's really, it feels, I live in a small town in kind of the middle of nowhere in a spiritual community,
Yeah,
and there's a big division between, like, the sort of new age spiritual community and the traditional Christian fundamentalists, and it's there's a lot of clashing, and it can be, I mean, it's not necessarily violent like what you're describing, and I've looked at a lot of I mean, from the outside, all I can do is watch YouTube videos about northern Nigeria to kind of have an understanding of it. And so, what you're describing as your childhood is so intense and so hard for, I think, probably a lot of Americans to even fathom. And you've brought up so many points that I actually want to dive deeper into. But I've been thinking about this a lot this week because sometimes I have a lot of friends from Africa. There's a university here, and there's a lot of African students here. And so I like, my recent ex is Nigerian, and I have a lot of Igbo friends here, and
yeah,
Ugandan friends, and from different places. And I sometimes will talk kind of about the state of what's happening in the U.S. and how depressing it is right now, and like there's not going to be student visas, so it'll be harder for people to come to the U.S. in the next few years. And they're just like, yeah, but it's going to change. It's just always like this, because they're just, they don't have the contrast of what the US was like before the last few years. And so they're coming from areas that are war torn, where, there is a lot more violence, there is a lot more civil war, there is a lot more religious conflict that results in, death and bombings and murders. And, so it's just perspective about like where you come from and what your life experiences are. But that I'm also glad you talked about that song a little bit. So that's from The Good, the Bad, and the Junkie, right? That was
yeah.
your
A good
2023
man.
album. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really intense song, so I'm glad you kind of shared a little bit of about the background of it. It's like because I listen to your music all the time, and I'm just like, whoa.
you know, you know, speaking of this, sometimes people are like, there's a time when people are like, bro, please, why can't you just be a little bit more playful? Why are you always serious? I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. There's no escapism with my music. My music is as real as it gets. It's not.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
make their music just. Yeah, that's why I told my friends that artists. I'm like, when you want to escape, they listen to you. Let them go and listen to you, and then let them relax more. Then when you come over to me, like, it might be a bit intense for you, but just please understand that I've seen too many
Not
say certain
yeah,
stuff in my life,
and
and I
I
just
but I appreciate that too because I mean like I'm intense. I talk about a lot of really intense
yeah
shit all the time, and so you know, but it's like you're kind of like bopping along and like oh what is it? Making These Dreams Real and Illuminate are two songs that I really love of yours. But it's just the contrast. You know, you go from something like that into is it Rape or Murder? Is that the name of the song? Yeah,
yeah, rape and murder.
uh,
And
yeah.
funny enough, there's a lot more. There's a lot more because there's a lot more to come out that might be seen as dark. When, by the grace of God, I believe the budget that I have a project I'm working on. It's called "The Devil Wants Your Kids." That's the name of the project. This project
Mm.
is as spiritual as it gets, and unlike most of my projects, most of the time I get a beat and I write the song. But for this project, most of the lyrics were coming from a spiritual point of view. So I could just sit down and he's telling me, you have to sing this. You're the vessel for this. You have to make this song. Like this is, you have been chosen to make this song. And I hear them every day in my head, every day in my head. And then I have to, okay, sit down because I know that I've been chosen as the vessel to put this stuff. And there's nothing that makes you understand how spiritual music is. So, there's nothing that makes you understand how spiritual this world is as much as music. Because it's like, we are not, we cannot just be empty. It's not by choice. We are not good. I know I might sound Christian, but let me just put this to you. So, um, we cannot just be good by our natural selves. We are all vessels. We're all vessels, either positive or negative. And one of the major feeling is music. I've been working on a song for a horror film, and I remember we wrote the lyrics. Very dark. It was poetic. And when my friend started singing this song, I will not lie to you. The room had this cold, airy feeling. It was not. I'm not capping to you. It had this cold, airy feeling. And he was like, "Yo, man, this is scary as hell." And the same way when we made "Yes, I Believe," I
Hmm.
remember when we were done with "Yes, I Believe," like there was this joy in the room. I can never forget "Yes, I Believe." There was this joy, me, tiny, dirty. It was beautiful.
So, even though you a champion, yeah, let me see your hands up. Don't let nobody bring you down. We only got one life, so it's one